Alright, what's good, y'all? We are back with another video. I told you I'm going to be consistent with this, so every couple days I'm going to be posting some long forms of content just of me opening up my experiences, everything that I kind of been through, failures, trials and tribulations, success. So here we go. As you guys can tell by the title, how my fear of public speaking got me to join a Toastmasters. So I'll break it down to you. I say like dating back to high school. I don't know, in high school I used to always stutter a lot and I wasn't really confident on how I articulated my words, how I spoke, especially when it came to girls. Like I feel like I stuttered. I was definitely not confident in how I spoke. And my parents kind of noticed it. My dad always asked me like, do you have a speech impediment? Like, do you need to go, do we need to help you in any way? And I always told him no. And it kind of bugged me a little. And I remember just having to give public speeches in different classes in high school, and I hated it with a passion. And I'll never forget this moment. I was a senior in high school. I had a girlfriend at the time. And for like one of the end of the year projects, we had to give, I think, like a 5-minute speech in front of the whole class. And I remember it was my day to give the speech. I had a whole piece of paper that I was basically just gonna read off and look up. I remember just getting to class that day when I had to give my speech and just dreading that whole class, like, dang, I don't wanna speak. And that class was actually the first class of the day. It was like 8 a.m. it started. And I sat in the corner of the class, but like the corner in the front. And it was me, one of my friends or my old friends who was on my football team, my girlfriend who sat across from me or diagonal, and then a girl that I used to know in high school as well. So we were all in like a table of 4. So I'm going up to the stage and I have my piece of paper with me that I have my speech that I'm gonna just basically read off and look up to the class occasionally. And I just remember getting up on that stage and I was like, I just like kind of paused and was just so nervous. I didn't even really know how to start. So I started on my speech, just looking at my speech, looking up and down. And I started stuttering, I started saying and I'll never forget, I was halfway through my speech and I looked to my left. My ex started laughing. And at the time it's like, damn, your own girlfriend at the time is laughing at you because you can't even speak correctly. And I'll never forget how much like that really stung. And the dude who was sitting at the table, who I was still friends with at the time, he was trying to hold it in as well. And I was like, damn, like the people that are somewhat close to me are laughing at me because I can't even speak. And I'll never forget that moment. Finished the whole speech, even though it was horrible. I probably got an A because she probably felt so bad for me. But I was like, I need to feel confident when I speak. So fast forward, I graduate and then I go to college. I got a scholarship to play lacrosse at the University of Utah. I was a Division I athlete, and even then I struggled with my speech. I wasn't able to really just articulate the way I wanted to speak, and sometimes I would speak too fast and then I would stutter, and then sometimes I wouldn't have the right wording, and I was just always not as confident in how I spoke really, and it kind of messed with me. So fast forward again to my senior year of college, I had like one more elective I had to take before I graduated, and I wanted to take something, damn washing machine. I wanted to take an elective or a class that would apply to whatever field I go into or career-wise I could use, and it would help me in my career, whatever route I decide to go. So I was like, what class can I take? And I was looking at some of the electives and the public speaking class was available, and I was like, I hate public speaking. Like, to the core of me, I hate it. And I was like, you know what? This is gonna help me grow. This is gonna help me become a better speaker, be more confident in front of people, be able to articulate. So I did it. So the criteria for that class is we had to give like 6 to 8 speeches, different speeches in front of the whole class. I think the class size was about like 30 kids, big class, fairly decent sized class. And I think 2 of the speeches were about 5 minutes, 3 of the speeches were like 2 to 4 minutes, and then 1 speech or 2 speeches were like 2 minutes each. but I just remember dreading every time I had to speak. And I would use my phone to write down my speeches and kind of just read off my phone and look up. But I just remember getting a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better after every speech, and was getting a little bit more confident, a little bit more confident, a little bit more confident. And I was like, okay, I'm somewhat starting to get the hang of it. You know, I would still stutter here and there, but I was breathing better. I was feeling less nervous. Like when I gave my first ever speech in that high school story that I told you about, my palms are sweating. I was low-key sweating. But when I got to college, I wasn't sweating as much. You know, I was still nervous, but it wasn't as bad. And then that led me into basically the story or the title that you guys see above, how I joined the Toastmasters. And many of you probably don't even know what Toastmasters is. So the way I was introduced to Toastmasters, or first let me explain what Toastmasters is. Toastmasters is a speaking club where you go to this weekly club, and there's clubs all over the world, really. You can be in India, and there's some, Pakistan, Dubai, and then as well as in the States. There's all over the world, Toastmasters. So it's a speaking club that you go weekly, that you participate in different speaking roles. You can be the speaker, you can give different questions to other people who don't have speaking roles and have them answer, come on the stage or, you know, the floor and answer different questions. And it just gets you to speak and have to articulate, and you get feedback every time. If you use crutch words such as you get dinged. So you're very conscious of using different crutch words. You're definitely conscious of using the stage presence. They help you with all of that. And I joined about 2 months ago, but how I got introduced to Toastmasters was I was a sophomore in college. I was watching all these motivational videos around that time because I was just like, I need to make money. I want to be successful. And all my teammates at the time only really cared about lacrosse and like getting girls and just playing games on their phones. And I was just like, yeah, it's cool, but I'm kind of over that. I want to have a plan when I graduate college. So I was watching all these motivational speakers and motivational videos on YouTube, and I came across this one speaker called Dan Pena. He goes by the name Trillionaire Man. If you guys don't know who I'm talking about, you should definitely look him up. He's an inspirational speaker, businessman, cutthroat. He's going to tell you how it is. He's not going to sugarcoat anything. I think he was born in like the 50s or the 60s. I think he served in some war, but real cutthroat dude, real business-minded entrepreneur. He's going to get the job done, basically, type of guy. And he was just screaming at like this mastermind of kids kind of my age, like you pussies, this and that, you guys are sugarcoat, you guys are soft as a snowflake, etc. And he's like, most of you guys can't even talk, or public speaking skills are horrible. And I was like, dang, I can kind of relate to that. Like, my public speaking skills are horrible. And he's like, if you want to be able to start a company and have your employees working for you and feel, you know, confident that they're under your wing and really articulate your words and develop this code and whatever it is, you need to be able to communicate well. And if you don't know how to do that, you need to join the Toastmasters Club. And right when he said that, I was like, a Toastmasters? So I looked it up, I paused the video, I looked it up, and I was like, speaking club. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna join one. And this was my sophomore year in college. I put it off for 2 years. And eventually, when I graduated college, I moved back to California, where I'm at currently right now. And I was like, okay, this is my chance to join the Toastmasters. So about 2 months ago, I joined the Toastmasters Club. And the crazy thing is, I'm the youngest one by like 20-something years, if that, maybe 15. But I'm the youngest one. I'm 25 years old. Everyone else is mid-30s, low 40s, even some in 50s and 60s. But I realized I needed to do that because that was one of my weaknesses. And I told myself in the year 2024, I'm going to work on every sort of weakness that I have. So one of them was public speaking, so I joined the Toastmasters. Another one, I won't get into all of them, but another one was I wasn't satisfied with how I looked, how my shirts felt, how my body looked. So what did I decide to do? I decided to work out every single day. I've been working out every single day, haven't missed one day for about 9 months straight. And I'm planning to go the whole year, not missing one day. Now, no days off, I don't believe in that, every single day. But I told myself in the year 2024, I'm making every single day a living hell on as far as pushing myself outside my boundaries and allowing me to become that best version of myself. But I joined Toastmasters and it's really changed my life. I go every week. Just 2 weeks ago, I hosted the whole meeting of me orchestrating, me running the whole meeting. After being in there for about a month and a half, me organizing, me running the whole meeting, the youngest guy in there, being able to speak, to run the program, to call people up, to run the whole meeting is pretty surreal. So if anyone watching this video struggles with speaking or public speaking skills or having sort of this stage presence when you have to give speeches or hand gestures or anything when it comes to speaking, I highly advise you to join the Toastmasters Club, because it's definitely scary. You know, there are many days still where I don't want to go. The one I go to starts at 7 a.m. on a Monday morning, so I gotta get up at 5:30 every morning. But I love it because first it allows me to start my week off right. I'm waking up early, doing something productive that's going to help me in the future and it's going to pay dividends in the future. And I just feel every time I speak or have to speak or get in front of people or participate in a group, I just feel confident on how I speak, the words I use, hand gestures, like all of that. Like if you guys were to see me give a speech right now to how I was speaking in high school, you'd be like, that's the same person? Like it was that bad. So the moral of the story, it just changed my whole life, because as we all know, we're human beings who love to communicate. And if you don't know how to communicate, that's going to be a big setback for you. And I realized that, and I was like, that's something that I can work on. You know, I might not be the best speaker right now, but I could definitely work on it. And a big speaker that I idolize, and we don't align as far as the same values, but someone I idolize as far as how they communicate is Andrew Tate. He uses no filler words. He doesn't say or. The way he's able to respond to questions and keep a conversation and make it intriguing and use different type of vocabulary words, and it's a pretty cool thing to hear him speak. And that's why I think he's gained so much notoriety, is because of the way he's able to articulate himself. But that's the reason why I joined the Toastmasters, and it's been helping me so much. Like I just feel so much more confident in myself. Like if I had to give a speech in front of a couple hundred people, I'd be willing to do it. And I'll give you guys one more story before I end this video. But my last couple weeks of school, I got invited to give this speech to a special needs Olympic event. A couple hundred kids, they were all special needs, and then their family members came. It was a cool event, but I got invited, and I accepted it because I was already in that public speaking course that I took last semester of my senior year. So I was already preparing, talking in front of people, and I gave the speech. I was super nervous. I messed up a few times, but I wasn't gonna say yes if I probably wasn't in that class. And something inside me, I wanted to say no, which is the funny thing, because a couple hundred people, public speaking in front of all those people, like that's a lot. And I wanted to say no, but something in me was like, you're gonna regret this if you don't. Like those people that you're gonna give a speech to probably won't remember you a year from now. So just go up there and talk about your life, talk about your experience being a lacrosse player. They wanted to hear my experience being a D1 athlete, you know, any words of encouragement, any advice. So I gave my speech, kind of told my whole story, how I got into the sport, words of encouragement to better themselves, etc. And that was a real breaking point where I was like, okay, I'm gonna get better and better with my public speaking. And then fast forward, I joined Toastmasters, where every week I'm working on myself as far as how I communicate. So again, watch up to this point, I highly suggest you join a Toastmasters. Even if you're confident in yourself on how you speak, you can always be a better speaker. And that's gonna make you more of an asset when you go into the market space. And just, again, feel way more confident about yourself. Because if you want to be an entrepreneur, that I think a lot of people are wanting to do nowadays, since social media has really exposed it, you want to be able to articulate yourself. You really want to be able to tell cool stories, to get people to really understand what you mean right off the bat, and not having you to explain yourself multiple times. If you can say something right away that people understand, that is a skill. So really practice that. Like, the art of public speaking, the art of communicating is a skill. And the better you get at that, the more money you will make, the better you will rise up in your field, and the more money, again, you will make. So highly, highly, highly suggest you join the Toastmasters Club. That's my whole spiel of how I started as a horrible communicator, and I'm getting better every week. So listen, we're all dealt with cards that we don't choose when we're born, but you can either work on those skills and make them great and better yourselves, or you can complain and point fingers. And I just realized I'm in control of my skill sets. I'm in control of my life, and I can work on this. This is something that I can control. So I took the initiative to become a better speaker, and that's what I'm doing every single week. So I highly suggest you guys to join the Toastmasters. Again, I appreciate all of y'all who have watched to the end of this video. As always, keep being you, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.